Let's bring in the Assistant Trade and Manufacturing Minister Tim Ayres now. We can test some of these questions on you to see if the government has some answers here. $3.6 billion spend here. These were measures apparently taken in the budget, not yet announced. But this is all coming in the context, Tim, of the RBA saying they're a little bit worried about the level of government spending.
Well, let's look at this measure in particular. $3.6 billion there. What it does is put the wages of childcare workers up by 15%, 10% in December, 5% next year, $150 wage increase for childcare workers. We've already put childcare costs down by 11%. This will cap future increases so that parents benefit, and childcare costs are a significant part of the cost of living equation for suburban families and regional families. It's good for productivity in the economy because it enables workforce participation. And childcare workers who are early childhood educators will that means more childcare workers, but it's good for little kids too. Like, Laura, this is the kind of quality spending. So we've turned a $78 billion Liberal deficit, and deficits as far as the eye could see, $1 trillion in debt when we came to government, nothing to show for it, into back-to-back Labor surpluses. And the quality of our spending is good for the economy and good for productivity.
Okay, so you're saying the quality of the spending makes it non-inflationary, really?
Well, this measure, let's focus on this measure, and there are plenty of others. There are plenty of others
in workers' pockets. Yep.
It improves workforce participation, downward pressure on inflation through that aspect of the measure alone. Downward pressure on costs because it caps price rises, but also sits against a backdrop of an 11% reduction through Labor's cheaper childcare measures.
Isn't it only over the next 2 years? So you're just delaying the effect.
Well, it certainly does. It's a long-term structural reform in the provision of early childhood education in the interests of improving the amount of childcare workers, wage justice for a almost exclusively feminised workforce. More than 90% of the workforce are women. It's good for the quality of our childcare system, improves workforce participation and productivity. That's all good for putting downward pressure on inflation, and it deals with the cost of living pressures that families are